Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire.
What does asbestos management mean to you?
I used to really struggle with the asbestos management at my site, but now it's a breeze.
It used to be really expensive. I was paying loads, but now I've got my asbestos power team in place. It's so much easier.
Asbestos can be a pain in the arse if not handled right.
We had to stop the job because asbestos was discovered. Now we don't have that problem.
Asbestos management is easier than you think. Asbestos management. Be proactive, not reactive. Think about asbestos first, not last.
And now your hosts, best-selling authors and asbestos experts, Ian Stone and Neil Munro.
Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire. I'm Ian Stone.
I'm Neil Munro.
So today we're talking about the 4 questions to check the safety of you or your children. Now, this is going to be a relatively short and sharp podcast. This is off the back of doing several others talking about asbestos, and we've kind of highlighted by doing this, the only way we're going to spread the word is to spread it as far and as wide as we possibly can to not just people in the asbestos industry, not people in the construction industry, but people who are out there living their everyday lives.
Yeah, the only way that we're really going to get this message out and for companies or individuals to take this to the next level, taking it seriously, is getting everyday people, get this on their agenda, get this in their sort of their eyesight of when they're looking to either buy a building, send their children to school, go to church, even down to the doctors and the hospital. The only way that we're going to get this raised up people's agenda is getting everybody asking for this information, getting it in their awareness.
Exactly, and the reason this is so important, over 5,000 people are dying each year from asbestos-related diseases. This isn't stopping. This has been happening year after year, and the trend has been on the up and up.
Yeah.
And that's why we really do need to raise this as an agenda across the country.
Yeah. But lots of people might be sitting there thinking, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking for. I don't know what I'm supposed to be asking. How do I make sure that either I'm safe or my family is safe?
Yeah.
By the places that they're going to, maybe where that, like I said, whether that's been work, school, in their free time, recreation, whatever. If you've got concerns about you or your children going somewhere, these are kind of the core questions. And if they can answer these questions correctly and with the evidence and supply you with the evidence, then this will give you a good indication whether they're managing their asbestos correctly or not.
Yeah, so let's jump straight in. The first question is to ask is, do you have an asbestos management plan? And please, can you provide me a copy? Now, all domestic premises built before the year 2000 in the UK must have an asbestos management plan. Plain and simple.
Yeah, this is the kind of what the regulations insist you have. It's not you have to have a survey. It's you must manage asbestos and provide that use a management plan to kind of manage that system.
Exactly.
Have that in, and that has to be written. So there should be a written copy of that, and they should be able to supply you with that.
It is. It's a duty to manage, not a duty to survey.
Yeah.
And the management plan, like you just said, it just details everything of how they manage asbestos on their site, or even if there isn't asbestos identified, how they manage other things such as refurbishment works, the maintenance of the building. All those things should be included.
Yeah, it's basically how do they run their business, their property on a day-to-day basis, and how asbestos affects that. Should have all the policies, procedures, assessments within that management plan.
Okay, so number 2, second question. Has asbestos been identified at your site? And please, can you provide a copy?
Yeah, so that's a kind of a clear-cut question, isn't it?
Asbestos, yes, no.
If there's as not sure, again, that's going to be an alarm ring in there. It should be a clear answer to that, and they should be able to readily get hold of that information and provide it for you.
Yeah. Number 3, is all asbestos in a good condition?
Yeah, so obviously effectively managing asbestos is preventing people being exposed to asbestos fibre. Now, don't get me wrong, there may be instances where there is damage to asbestos on site. However, that has to be dealt with and managed accordingly. But if all asbestos is in a good and safe condition, again, that is going to give you the confidence that this duty holder is managing asbestos and has everything in place, if they can answer that question.
Number 4, has the risk of people being exposed to asbestos been assessed?
Yeah.
Now, that's quite a mouthful.
Yeah.
Usually this is done under what's known as the priority risk assessment. Now, these look at the risk of people being exposed to asbestos, not just the asbestos material itself. It's people, how they're going to interact in rooms within a property, and if there's any asbestos in those rooms, are they likely to disturb it?
Yeah.
So those are the 4 things. And the 4th one, like I say, the priority risk assessment.
They are important assessments because it is looking at exposure. What's the risk of somebody going into that building, working in that building, being present within that building? What's the risk of them being exposed to any asbestos materials within that property? So really important. And those assessments then help the duty holder to manage that process. So it helps them decide on what they need to do to prevent people being exposed to asbestos. So they're really, really important. And sometimes if the whole package hasn't been done, them assessments get missed off and they kind of refer to the material risk assessments in survey reports. But it's basically having that assessment all together will give you that overall total risk.
Yes. And those 4 questions, short and sharp, like we've just gone through, they really should be easy for somebody to answer, easy for them to supply you with copies of, easy and freely available to speak about. Asbestos isn't a big secret. It shouldn't be a big secret. All of these things should be in place. And like we said at the beginning, whether you work in an office, a warehouse, a factory, your children go to a school, all of these places should have this in place. And you've got that right to request that information to make sure that these places are safe for you, for your children, for your family. And I would urge you to go and request these questions and get these answers for yourself. And if you've got any questions whatsoever around the information that you get back and you want some free advice and assistance, then you can contact us here at Acorn and we'll gladly provide some assistance for you. We're going to write these questions down. They're going to be in the synopsis of this episode. So again, you can literally go on there, click on them, copy them, paste them into an email, fire them off to your children's school, fire them off to your church, fire them off to your boss, and get these answers because, like we said, over 5,000 people are dying from asbestos each year. People are being exposed to asbestos day in and day out, and it's not good enough. We need to do something. So this is the start of really trying to hone in on who's up to scratch and who isn't in this country.
Yep, so we champion you to take action today. Get these questions, fire them across to whoever you need to, and get the answers for your own reassurance and for your family's reassurance.
Thanks for listening. Remember, asbestos first, not last.